So you wanted to know which programming language should you learn first? Well, my very short answer is to pick either JavaScript or Python, and let me explain why. Hey, what's going on friends? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Bruno. I am a software developer based in the UK, and on this channel we give you the tips and the tools needed to have a successful career in software development. So throughout this video, I'll be walking you guys through the process of picking the right programming language for you to learn first based on your intention. So please give a like to this video as it helps tremendously with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content on my face more often. As you come to pick one programming language, it's worth mentioning that once you learn one programming language, whether that is Java, C++, C#, or anything else for that matter, it becomes a lot easier to learn another language because most programming languages are somewhat related to each other. And if you have already started learning your programming language, I would encourage you to carry on learning that particular language. But other than that, here are 3 things you should consider when picking a programming language. Number 1, the job market. Well, most of us want to learn to program so that we can land a job. And if I'm honest with you, the job market is a bit tricky as it depends highly on your location as well as on the industry you want to go to. But I'd say if you live in the UK, I would say that for small businesses or startups, you should go ahead and learn Python, Go, or JavaScript as those languages are commonly used in the UK. And for those of you who may be interested in banking or gaming industry, then I highly suggest you learn C#, C++, or even Java. And if you know what industry, then you can go ahead and have a look at the websites like Indeed or LinkedIn and see what are the requirements for the roles that you are applying for. Like for example, software development. See what they're asking for in your area. Number 2, ask yourself, what do you want to build? If you want to develop websites, then I would suggest you go ahead and learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you want to develop iOS application, then you should learn Swift. And one other thing to mention is that if you go into university, what language should you learn? Well, I would suggest you Google that kind of question because you want to know what your university teaches. For example, if you're going to go Aston main programming language is Java. So I would encourage you guys to go ahead and check what programming language are taught at your university. Ask friends that have attended that university. Look at forums like the student room, and just Google to find out what your university main languages are. And like I said, for Aston it's mainly Java. And my third point is, how easy is it to learn that language? Well, I can say that JavaScript is easier than Java or C#, and I can also say that Python is actually easier than C or C++. So what programming language should you learn first? Well, it really depends on your situation, but in general I would say try to find something that fulfills all those criteria that we talked about. Find something that is on demand, find something that lets you build something that you really want to build, and make sure that this programming language is not as difficult to learn. And this is really what led us to JavaScript and Python, because they're both relatively easy to learn, as well they're always in demand. So which one should you learn, JavaScript or Python? To be honest, it really depends on what you want to build. So if you're more interested in the visual side of the things than the logic, like building websites, then I would say go for JavaScript. And if you go for JavaScript, make sure you learn HTML, CSS first. So the way it works is that HTML is used to create the actual content of the page, such as written text, and CSS is responsible for the design or the style of the website, including the layout, the visual effect, as well as background color, etc. JavaScript here is used to control the behavior of different elements on the page. For example, we can set a piece of functionality that changes the color of button A when button B is pressed. And you can see all the HTML, CSS, JavaScript as a set of code that runs on your browser, on your device, and that is something that we call the front end. However, the front end code alone is not enough to make a complete website. Like for example, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and that is because if you were to go to your YouTube to see the people you have subscribed to, YouTube first would need to know who you are, and that information alone is not stored in your browser or on your device. It is stored somewhere on YouTube server, and so we need code that runs on the YouTube server, and that is called the backend code. And to make backend code, developer use something else for that. For example, we can use Node.js, which is based on JavaScript, or we can also use Django or Flask, which is based on Python. All this is what we call framework. As you can see, to make a full website, we need quite a lot of things. But I always say, start small. Learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript should be good for now. And once you feel more comfortable, then you go ahead and learn a framework. And of course, if you're more interested in the logic side of things than visual, then Python is a great choice for you. Python is commonly used to build backend code of websites. Don't forget guys, Python is also used by many companies for machine learning purposes, data science, data analysis, and so on and so forth. For example, I use Python to make a YouTube and Spotify automation for my liked videos on YouTube to be added to my playlist on Spotify. If that's something that you guys are interested in, let me know down in the comment section and I'll make a video about it. And that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video guys, like always, give it a like and subscribe if you'd like to see this face next week. I'll catch you guys in my next one. Peace. Ciao.